We're going to call the meeting for Akron City Council to order. Clerk will read the roll.
Baylor.
Aye.
Connor.
Aye.
Freeman. I know I saw him.
Present.
Thank you. Fusco.
Aye.
Kamer.
Aye.
Lombardo.
Aye.
McKittrick.
Aye.
Malik.
Aye.
Neal.
Aye.
Amobian.
Aye.
Samples.
Aye.
Somerville.
Aye.
Swirsky.
Aye.
All members are present.
At this time, we'll be led in prayer by Councilman Freeman. Immediately following our prayer, will be led in the Pledge of Allegiance by Councilwoman Samples.
All right, we'll pray together. God, we're reminded again of how great you are. We're reminded today of how brief our lives are. And in the presence of your greatness and in the presence of our brevity, we thank you that you've called us to the place that you've called us to. Honor yourself as you deserve honor, and guide our hearts and our thoughts and our words this evening. We pray in your name. Amen.
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 I pledge allegiance to the flag
Of
the
the
United
United States
of
of
America
America,
and to the republic for which it stands, one
one
nation,
nation,
under
under
God,
God,
indivisible,
indivisible,
with
liberty, and
justice
justice for all.
Thank you. The minutes from our previously held meeting have been provided. Are there any additions or corrections? Councilman Fusco,
Motion to approve.
can we get a second? Councilman Swirsky,
I'll second it.
roll call.
Baylor.
Aye.
Connor.
Aye.
Freeman.
Aye.
Fusco.
Aye.
Kamer.
Aye.
Lombardo.
Aye.
McKittrick.
Aye.
Malik.
Aye.
Neal.
Aye.
Amobian.
Aye.
Samples.
Aye.
Somerville.
Aye.
Swirsky.
Aye.
The minutes pass 13-0.
Before you, you have the consent agenda. Motion to approve. Councilman Fusco,
Motion to approve consent agenda.
can we get a second? Councilman Kamer,
I will second that.
roll call.
Baylor.
Aye.
Connor.
Aye.
Freeman.
Aye.
Fusco.
Aye.
Kamer.
Aye.
Lombardo.
Aye.
McKittrick.
Aye.
Malik.
Aye.
Neal.
Aye.
Amobian.
Aye.
Samples.
Aye.
Somerville.
Aye.
Swirsky.
Aye.
The consent agenda passes 13-0.
We do have 3 public hearings scheduled for this evening. Clerk will read in item number 1.
Notice is hereby given that the following public hearing will be held by the Council of the City of Akron on Monday, February 8th, 2021, during the council meeting at 7 p.m. Ordinance approving the Chapel Hill Mall redevelopment plan.
Mr. Antonucci?
Actually, I'm going to speak on that. This is Kurt Mulhauser, the Department of Planning.
Yes, Kurt, thank you.
The Chapel Hill Mall redevelopment area is located in northeast Akron and is bounded by the city limits to the north, Britton Road to the east, Buckholster Boulevard to the west, and Independence Avenue to the south. The redevelopment area consists of 3 tax parcels occupying approximately 72 acres and includes Chapel Hill Mall, surrounding parking lots, and 3 standalone structures, including an automobile service station and 2 vacant former businesses. The mall was constructed in 1967. The interior of the mall is in good condition. Of the approximately 75 storefronts in the mall, approximately 20 are occupied with tenants. Storage of America occupies the previous anchor location on the north end of the mall. The other 2 anchor tenant spaces are vacant. The surface parking lots are largely unused. Immediate surrounding land uses are primarily retail and commercial. Chapel Hill Church and Christian School is located immediately north of the mall. The Chapel Hill Mall redevelopment plan contains a description of area boundaries, a statement of objectives, a land use plan, and a description of the techniques and standards to accomplish plan objectives. The establishment of the redevelopment plan gives the city the ability to assist development in the established area utilizing tax increment financing under provisions of the Ohio Revised Code. Zoning within the redevelopment area is retail business. Conditional zoning for commercial use has already been approved for the Storage of America location, formerly Macy's, and the vacant former Sears department store. Proposed zoning within the redevelopment area is Unified Plan Development District Class UPD 49. Permitted land use will include commercial development with some restrictions, retail and residential. It is in the interest of the city of Akron to facilitate new development and redevelopment, reinvestment that will create jobs for residents of the city. The proposed redevelopment plan and zoning change will assist the city in facilitating development within the designated area. OID, the Department of Planning and planning staff recommend approval of the Chapel Hill Mall redevelopment area report and plan. Thank you.
Thank you so much. We do have quite a few people who signed up to speak during our public hearing for this evening. So just going to ask those who wish to speak or bring forth comments on tonight that you're sworn in by a member of our law department.
Okay, would those wishing to speak, please raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give is the truth? If so, please say I do.
I do.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Jeff Martin? If Jeff Martin, can you hear us?
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Yeah, so I am a representative of ICP, Industrial Commercial Properties, the owner of the former Sears at Chapel Hill Mall. And, you know, on behalf of ICP, I am greatly appreciative of, you know, council and staff and leadership at the city of Akron, looking to get out ahead and think creatively on this project and, you know, find a way to, you know, permit additional uses that can help kind of revitalize and bring jobs back to the mall area. And, you know, I'm happy to answer any questions that you might have. Thanks for your time.
The next person on our list is Jordan Burns.
Thank you. I'm the attorney for Industrial Commercial Properties, and so I'll read Jeff Martin that we really the city, the administration's efforts in working towards providing the tools that will allow for the revitalization of the Chapel Hill Mall property. We look forward to your vote on this issue and towards continuing our work on the redevelopment and revitalization of the mall. Thank you.
Sorry, we're having some technical difficulties here. President Somerville's connecting to audio. The next person on the list would be Thomas Fitzpatrick. Mr. Fitzpatrick, did you want to speak?
Yeah, I think a lot of our concerns were taken care of with the, you know, statements that were made earlier in the day. I have written a fairly lengthy letter to the city regarding our feelings, especially the water tower and the water situation, where we would like to avoid having those situations arise again. And speaking with Chris Little at the in the engineering water department today, I think that we can work together and taking care of that and separating some of those situations out there from the water towers, so they're not all at the mercy of the mall owners. That's our main concern, to make sure that we don't have to lock out our customers because there's no fire protection and things of that nature. And then also maintaining the existing uses that we have and future uses for the parking lot. And again, we believe that this is a very looking forward, a very good program for the use of the property and to keep it in a healthy business environment for everybody. And we appreciate it.
Thank you so much. Robert Walker.
Some of the other people with Storage of America may not be joining us if they haven't already joined us.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much. And we'll just kind of go through the list just to make sure. Derek Walker, Kathleen Lamb, Lawlin, Frederick Schwarzmeyer. Okay. Councilman Fusco.
Thank you, President Somerville. I'd like to pull the committee to take time until the next meeting. Swirsky?
Okay, let's take time. Yes.
Thank you. Baylor?
Yes. Aye.
Kamer? And Samples?
Aye.
Yes, thank you. The report of the committee is for time. I would urge council as well as the committee to review all the documents. There's a lot of moving parts. I'd like to ask for a vote at the next meeting. Thank you. I'd also like the record to reflect that I'll be abstaining on this, including the report. Thank you.
Item number 2, ordinance or notice is hereby given that the following public hearing will be held.
I have my hand up.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Two things, Madam President. Last week we established, so we're going to wait until next time we meet on the 22nd to find out why Mr. Fusco is abstaining, number one. And number two, who do we talk to about the financial package for this deal?
If I could.
Councilman Fusco.
Yes, thank you. On this particular piece right here, there's no financial package. I don't believe this is in terms of the redevelopment plan. That answers one of your questions, I hope. And the other question was in reference to abstention. I have a storage unit within Storage World, so I didn't think it appropriate that I vote on this.
You're renting a unit?
Yes, ma'am.
Storage of America or Storage World?
Storage World.
Okay.
Okay. Councilman Mobin, does that answer your question?
Well, we all got problems if we're going to abstain because we're renting something. But anyway, that's fine.
All right. Thank you. We're going to read in item number 2, please.
Notice is hereby given that the following public hearing will be held by the Council of the City of Akron on Monday, February 8th, 2021, during the council meeting at 7 p.m. Ordinance amending the zoning map as referred to in section 153.220 and the zoning code as referred to in section 153.100 to .150 of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Akron, 2004, to establish a planned development district, UPD 49, to permit residential, limited business, retail, and commercial uses on approximately 72 acres of land containing Chapel Hill Mall, generally bounded by the city limits to the north, Britton Road to the east, Buckholster Boulevard to the west, and Independence Avenue to the south.
Mr. Antonucci.
Yes, thank you, Madam President, members of council. Yeah, this is the rezoning piece of the redevelopment plan that Kurt had presented. This establishes the Unified Plan Development District, UPD 49, which amends the retail or U3 zoning designation to allow select commercial U4 uses here, and with some development controls. This would still allow the retail and residential uses, but it provides more flexibility and a wide range of potential uses for the Chapel Hill Mall property. Office of Integrated Development Planning staff and Planning Commission recommend approval. Thank you.
Thank you so much. We also had Jeff Martin and Jordan Burns signed up to bring forth remarks. Do either one of you want to bring forth comments on this issue? If so, just going to ask that you be sworn in by a member of our law department first.
Jordan Burns here. I'm counsel for ICP. I'm not sure if your practice is to swear in attorneys for parties, but I'm happy to be sworn in if you'd like.
Yes, thank you.
And I can be sworn in as well. Jeff Martin on behalf of ICP.
Okay, if you could raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give is the truth? If so, please say I do.
I do.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Jeff Martin?
Thanks again for the opportunity. I don't know that I have a lot of additional comments to add at this point, but happy to answer questions that the council may have.
Okay, thank you so much. Jordan Burns?
Yeah, again, counsel for ICP, who is the owner of, or who is and will be the owner of the bulk of the property subject to this rezoning. Again, as I mentioned earlier, the city's administration is proposing to afford tools to allow for the redevelopment and rejuvenation of the Chapel Hill property. This is among the most critical to allow, as Mr. Antonucci described, a variety of uses on the property, and it is of critical importance that we be enabled to use the property and allow our end users to use the property in that variety of ways, so that the mall property can again be a vibrant place for the conduct of business. And we appreciate the attention that the city has given our effort, and the city has used in order to afford those tools. Thank you.
Thank you so much. If we have no other one else speaking, that will conclude our public hearing. Councilman Fusco?
Would like to pull the committee again for time. Samples?
Aye.
Thank you. Kamer?
Aye.
Baylor?
Aye.
Swirsky?
Aye.
Yes. And I again will abstain. Thank you.
Thank
Request
you.
the committee for time.
Time will be granted.
Notice is hereby given that the following public hearing will be held by the Council of the City of Akron on Monday, February 8th, 2021, during the council meeting at 7 p.m. Ordinance authorizing a conditional use to construct a self-storage facility at 1990 Buckholster Boulevard.
Mr. Antonucci?
Yes, thank you, Madam President, members of council. Brady Sullivan Properties LLC proposes to renovate the existing 45,000 square foot single-story building to develop a climate-controlled indoor self-storage facility. The planned storage facility would consist of individual indoor climate-controlled self-contained units of various sizes. The petitioner would make cosmetic upgrades to the existing well-maintained brick and split-face block building. Petitioner also intends to construct 6 non-climate controlled exterior buildings in the existing main parking lot between the former store and the street. This component of construction would yield 24,000 gross square feet of storage area. The buildings would range in footprint from 2,145 square feet to 3,960 square feet. These storage units would be of similar size and materials as the main building. landscaping would be provided. A goal of the Land Use and Development Guide Plan is to promote the preservation and revitalization of viable business districts. The use of this formerly retail property for self-storage will provide a community service for residents and business users alike without imposing on surrounding businesses, while helping this area survive in a changing retail landscape. And Office of Integrated Development, Planning Staff, and Planning Commission recommend approval subject to conditions. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Antonucci. Do we have Josh Sullivan and Chris Lewis online with us?
You have Josh Sullivan here representing Brady Sullivan.
Wonderful. So at this time, we're just going to ask that you be sworn in by a member of our law department.
You could raise your right hand. Thank you. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give is the truth? If so, please say I do.
I do.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. You can bring forth your remarks.
So my name is Josh Sullivan. I was on here earlier. I'm the head of acquisitions and due diligence for Brady Sullivan Properties. We're very happy and appreciative of the opportunity and look forward to the opportunity to provide, like Mike said, some much needed services for local residents and businesses. We pride ourselves on the quality of construction, not only on the interior quality, but the exterior facade, that it meshes well and is cohesive with our surrounding communities that we're lucky enough to enter. So happy to go over any comments or details or answer any questions that may be asked.
Thank you so much, Mr. Sullivan. Councilman Fusco?
Yes, I'd like to pull the committee to refer this item for 2 weeks. Baylor?
Aye.
Kamer?
Aye.
Samples?
Aye.
And Swirsky?
Aye.
Yes, report the committees to refer this item.
This item will be referred. Councilman Fusco, what's your pleasure on the rest of the agenda?
We'd like to take time on 4 through and including 6. And for item number 7, we have a substitute offered as an amendment. Like that to be read in, please.
Substitute offered as an amendment, resolution adopting the 2021 Capital Investment and Community Development Program, legally referred to as the Capital Investment Budget, and declaring an emergency.
Councilman Fusco?
Yes, thank you, President Somerville. The request of the committees for suspension of the rules with a favorable report on this particular item. This is the 2021 capital budget for the city of Akron. There's been some adjustments made as it's prepared in the fall, typically the year before we pass it. We do have a deadline of February 15th to have it passed by. That's why we're asking for approval this evening. The lion's share of the adjustment is in reference to the Public Utilities Bureau. Expenditures that are expected instead of 21 will be done in 22. Some of the council-driven initiatives are the traffic calming, as well as increasing the sidewalk program, which we're a bit behind, a couple years behind. So we've added more money to that program as well. And so with that, we're recommending approval. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Fusco. Any objections on suspension of the rules? Seeing and hearing none, the rules have been suspended. The committee's report is favorable. I do see Councilman Neal's hand. Councilman Neal, I think you're on mute.
Yes. Okay, thank you, Madam President. Yeah, I just wanted to reiterate a comment I made during the planning meeting. Appreciate the work that's gone into the budget. We've had much discussion about what's equitable policy. And within this budget is the plan to redo the soccer fields. You and I have had conversation. I've talked to Mr. Hardy, and I know there's a lot of good faith effort to address an issue with the soccer fields, but on face value, that looks like we're doing a good thing. But actually, the work that's going into put in the soccer fields disproportionately impacts many of the children in my ward and throughout the city. The reason why the emphasis has been to build soccer fields on Lane Field is because powers that be, and it started before this administration, so I'm not blaming this administration. This is what we have to understand when we talk about institutional policy and practices. Don't want children from my ward playing on a soccer field that is in their ward. Before, when I came on the council, there were children outside of our ward that played on Copley soccer fields. When children from my ward, from the inner city soccer program, requested, them and their parents requested to play there, Brother Dele Olabisi has been before our council. Efforts were made to shift the policy and to address it by creating these soccer fields. Here's where the disputable impact comes. We have soccer fields where my children could play. The high school that produces state championships multiple times does not have a track. The track down at Lane Field is not overseen by the school system. It is overseen by the city of Akron. That track is unsuitable for competition. So it displaces Buchtel High School, it displaces Emmanuel Christian Academy who runs there, and it displaces another youth program that has a 20-year history that produces national AAU champions every year, the West Akron track program. So I appreciate the fact that on surface and face value, it looks like we're addressing a need of soccer fields. But in actuality, we're putting off addressing the real issue, which is why children in West Akron cannot play on a soccer field that is in their community, when before they asked, children from all over other communities were practicing there and playing there. So it's my hope that as we go through this budget, we can have a conversation about making sure that we, make sure that what we do from Park and Recs coordinates with the overall plan for the Park and Rec infrastructure. That's the strategic group from the Convention Bureau, Akron Public Schools, and members from the community are doing, and looking at our sports facilities. But again, more importantly, that we create an injustice that has impacted the children from West Akron by not being able to play on soccer fields in their community, as well as a high school that has been displaced and doesn't have fields. And the ramifications from this go far past the soccer fields, and as I said, just Buchtel High School. So thank you.
Thank you so much, Councilman Neal. The rules have been suspended and the committee's report is favorable. Roll call.
Baylor,
Aye.
Connor,
Aye.
Freeman,
Aye.
Fusco,
Aye.
Kamer,
Aye.
Lombardo,
Aye.
McKittrick,
Aye.
Malik,
Aye.
Neal,
Aye.
Momobian,
Aye.
Samples,
Aye.
Somerville,
Aye.
Swirsky.
Aye.
This passes 13-0.
Councilman Fusco.
Yes, thank you. We'd like to take time on 8 through and including item number 16. The report of the committee on item 17 is favorable and we're asking for passage. The description on this particular item is this is the Romig Road area. We are amending the zoning code. The ward council person had questions and concerns. They've been addressed and is now in favor of it. Mr. Freeman, that is. So we're recommending approval this evening. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Any objections on suspension of the rules? Seeing and hearing none, the rules have been suspended. The committee's report is favorable. Roll call.
Baylor,
Aye.
Connor,
Aye.
Freeman,
Aye.
Fusco,
Aye.
Kamer,
Aye.
Lombardo,
Aye.
McKittrick,
Aye.
Malik,
Aye.
Neal,
Aye.
Momobian,
Aye.
Samples,
Aye.
Somerville,
Aye.
Swirsky.
Aye.
This ordinance passes 13-0.
Councilman Fusco.
Time on the balance of the agenda. Thank you.
Time will be granted. Public Utilities and Green Committee, Councilman Freeman.
Committee requests time.
Time will be granted. That concludes our old business. We'll now move into new business, budget and finance.
Item number 1, offered by Freeman, ordinance authorizing the purchasing agent to enter into a contract after publicly advertising for proposals for the purchase of real and personal property insurance and boiler insurance to cover all city properties for 5 years, beginning March 1st, 2021, approving specifications therefore and declaring an emergency.
Councilman Freeman.
Committee's report is favorable, and we're asking for suspension of the rules.
Any objections on suspension of the rules? Seeing and hearing none, the rules have been suspended.
Yes, this will simply allow the city to go out and seek new proposals for our insurances and covering all of our buildings, boilers, whatnot. And with that, we ask for its passage.
Thank you. The rules have been suspended and the committee's report is favorable. Roll call.
Baylor,
Aye.
Connor,
Aye.
Freeman,
Aye.
Fusco,
Aye.
Kamer,
Aye.
Lombardo,
Aye.
McKittrick,
Aye.
Malik,
Aye.
Neal,
Aye.
Amobian,
Aye.
Samples,
Aye.
Somerville,
Aye.
Swirsky.
Aye.
This ordinance passes 13-0. Item number 2 is the substitute that we already dealt with. Item number 3, offered by Fusco, ordinance extending the conditional use granted to Canez Homes Incorporated, doing business as Triben Investment LLC, to construct a single-family detached allotment on the northwest side of Diagonal Road, south of Copley Road, for a term of 1 year, and declaring an emergency.
Councilman Fusco.
Report of the committee is favorable, and we're asking for suspension of the rules.
Any objections on suspension of the rules? Seeing and hearing none, the rules have been suspended.
Thank you. Yes, this is the petitioners. A little over 2 years ago, we addressed this in a conditional use request for housing in the Diagonal Road, south of Copley Road. We weren't able to get started, so they're requesting 1 additional year. So that's what this is in reference to. Obviously, council is very supportive of this. We're asking for suspension of the rules so we can so they can continue to get this started.
Thank you so much. The rules have been suspended and the committee's report is favorable. Roll call.
Baylor,
Aye.
Connor,
Aye.
Freeman,
Aye.
Fusco,
Aye.
Kamer,
Aye.
Lombardo,
Aye.
McKittrick,
Aye.
Malik,
Aye.
Neal,
Aye.
Amobian,
Aye.
Samples,
Aye.
Somerville,
Aye.
Swirsky.
Aye.
This ordinance passes 13-0. Item number 4, offered by Fusco, ordinance amending ordinance number 361, 2020 for the purpose of amending the list and schedule of special assessments to be levied for the purpose of paying the cost of an energy special improvement district project related to the acquisition, construction, installation, and improvement of certain public improvements in the city of Akron, Ohio at 530 to 540 South Main Street in cooperation with the Akron Summit County Energy Special Improvement District Incorporated, and further approving any revisions to the cooperative agreement and special assessment agreement related to that project necessitated by the amendment of the list and schedule of special assessments and declaring an emergency.
Councilman Fusco.
Yes, thank you. The request of the committee is for suspension of the rules. A favorable report.
Any objections on suspension of the rules? Seeing and hearing none, the rules have been suspended.
Yes, thank you. This is for the ESID, the Energy Special Improvement District that we have located on South Main Street, 530 and 540 South Main. This, in essence, establishes the income stream to pay off the improvements for the energy improvements that they're planning on making. It's a special assessment, basically, in the form of a special assessment. So in time is of the essence in terms of this. So that's why we're requesting approval this evening.
Thank you so much. The rules have been suspended and the committee's report is favorable. Roll call.
Baylor,
Aye.
Connor,
Aye.
Freeman,
Aye.
Fusco,
Aye.
Kamer,
Aye.
Lombardo,
Aye.
McKittrick,
Aye.
Malik,
Aye.
Neal,
Aye.
Amobian,
Aye.
Samples,
Aye.
Somerville,
Aye.
Swirsky.
Aye.
This ordinance passes 13-0.
That concludes our new legislation for tonight. We'll now move into the portion of our meeting that we refer to as our public comment period. Clerk will read in items received and play voice recordings.
This is from James Cioscia. If you knew anything about fracking and the promises that frackers make to communities, then you'd know that frackers lie about the consequences of their activity. Things always turn out worse than they say, much worse. Damage to groundwater, air pollution, destruction of wildlife habitat, decrease in property values, long-term health problems, to name a few. In the short term, this might sound like a tempting offer, but in the long run, we're talking forever, you'll regret doing this. I urge you to contact the Community Environmental Legal Defense Fund. They are experts on this issue. I am confident they can provide you with a wealth of alarming information that you probably don't have now. From Mr. Fetter. I am sending this response to the proposed drilling for gas, etc., under and around Ladue Reservoir in Geauga County. I am opposed for several reasons as a Geauga resident who lives near and frequents this area. Compromising the integrity of the drinking water wells for us and for Akron water recipients. Destruction of the forest around Ladue with pipelines, trucks, etc. This is an environmentally sensitive area with abundant wildlife, including a variety of ducks, fish, sandhill cranes, and other wildlife. Many people, including myself, frequent this area to observe. Noise, air pollution, and spills from chemicals used in the fracking process are going to contaminate the ground and drinking water. The cost to Geauga County for additional road and maintenance services. The disruption to county residents with the parade of trucks bringing in equipment, crews, and sand for fracking. There is not much money to be gained in return for all of the above destruction, $237,500 plus 15% royalties. A better approach is to raise the money via the proposal of the Land Conservancy for conservation easements, for example. This is from Karen Weiss. She amended her original comment to praise the decision to withdraw the Ladue fracking proposal. I can sleep easier knowing our well water is protected from any unforeseen fracking leaks. Mary Hoot says, to those in office supporting more destruction, I am ashamed of any Democrat that will go along with this greed. Democrats are supposed to be the party that rejects big money, that listens to the citizens. As I'm sure you know, people are very angry about more environmental loss. Why are you supporting new development? You can't feel good about it. If you aren't going to represent the public wishes and concern, you need to resign. And this is from Judy Gase. Absolutely no fracking in Geauga County. Do not come here and destroy our land and drinking water. Do not try to tell me it is safe. I know it is not. If you want to frack, do it in your backyard and not mine. And we have 41 voicemails this evening.
My name is Brooke Giger, and I'm with the University of Akron College Democrats. And I was just calling to state that I do oppose the fracking bill that's coming up. And I just wanted to ask you to consider all the devastating effects that this will have on not just the environment, but the citizens of Akron. Thank you so much for taking the time to listen to me, and I hope you have a lovely day. Bye-bye.
Yeah, good afternoon. My name is Catherine Dunlevy. I live at 11550 Colchester, which is in the neighborhood surrounding Ladue Reservoir. Therefore, I'm calling about the fracking situation. Homes in the area are on ground wells. Please continue to investigate the health hazards of fracking. Studies all over the country have found that air and water purity issues caused by fracking have resulted in health problems in area residents of all ages. Reports can be easily located. Reports for both sides. I'm saying the no side. And we thought health costs were a problem. This will lead to major issues for many people. Reports have shown that everything from premature babies to all types of health issues are present. We moved to the area to move away from congestion, to live among the trees with cleaner water and less air pollution. Most only think about water with fracking, but everything in the countryside is damaged by fracking. Please also consider the additional trucks and equipment which are necessary for this process. Is the addition of a bit of income really worth the health associated with such a program. I would hope that the health of the people and the land would be considered first. Thank you for listening. This is Catherine Dunleavy. I live in the area of Ladue Reservoir. Goodbye.
Hello, my name is Rebecca Bralick. My address is 6001 Center Street, Peninsula, Ohio, also formerly of 1807 Glenmount Avenue, Akron, Ohio. And I'm calling because I strongly oppose the selling of mineral rights on a portion of the Ladue watershed in the upper Cuyahoga River. I believe that that area has vital wetlands and riparian resources, and that fracking in that area will possibly affect the city drinking water and have extremely bad environmental consequences, impacting the integrity of the water quality. Will also set a precedent for obtaining income from selling interest in upper watershed that may not be compatible with the best protected water quality management for Akron's drinking water. As a former Akron resident and a current employee in the city of Akron who consumes the water daily, and also someone that lives on the Cuyahoga River, I believe that this is a very poor decision, and I'm very discouraged that my city is even thinking about doing this. I've always been proud of the environmental advances that my city has made, and this saddens me that you would even consider doing this. So I hope you will reconsider and will not become the next Flint, Michigan, and ruin the great city of Akron's water and this beautiful water source we have. So please oppose the selling of the mineral rights in the Ladue area of the watershed, and all of the watershed for that matter. Have a good day, and thank you for all that you do.
This is Mary Bray. I live at 17775 Settlers Trail. We have a well. I hope you're not going to allow fracking and drilling at Ladue Reservoir. Think of all the people you're going to harm. It has been proven that when you do that, you ruin groundwater. You use groundwater. How much will Ladue go down from all this drilling? I'm sorry, but I need to complain. I think you should take into account Geauga County. Thank you.
This is Nancy and Dave Eberhard, 17151 Farmington Road, West Farmington, Ohio, 44491. We are totally against fracking at Ladue Reservoir. Geologists have confirmed that fracking done in Youngstown a few years ago caused over 100 earthquakes. Fracking puts health, safety, and properties at risk. No on fracking at Ladue, please. Hi there. I'm opposed to the, first, my name is Melissa Ferrado. I live at 2775 Yellow Creek Road. That's in Akron, Ohio. And I just don't think fracking is a good idea in general, but especially over and around, under and around public water resources. Not too long ago, the Rolling Stone magazine put out a really wild article based on, they've been finding fracking associated with some radiation, like they're pulling up radiation out of the ground with fracking, and that seems pretty dangerous, in addition to all the other dangers we've read about fracking and know about fracking in general. So yeah, this proposal just seems completely out of line with concern about citizens and public health and ecological health. And it also seems like, if the city needs to make money, there's certainly are better ways to do that. So that's what I have to say. Thank you. Bye.
Hello, my name is Justin Gervis. My address is 3744 Ira Road, Akron, Ohio, 44333. And the reason for my message today is because I am I'm calling to oppose fracking at the Ladue Reservoir. I was just very surprised actually to hear that that this is even something that is being considered by council. It's just very disappointing. I think at this point, it's such common knowledge that fracking is not the way to a healthy future, healthy environment, and just there's so much data now, really clearly stating how harmful fracking is for the environment. Over 100 chemicals entering the earth. Many of those chemicals, no one even knows what they are. So that alone is frightening, and certainly it does make one skeptical that about the safety of these chemicals if their composition is being concealed from the public. I just wanted to voice my opinion here that I really hope that the council will consider this, really consider the fracking at Ladue and really look at the long-term ramifications of a project like this, not only because it's dangerous, but also what it says about the city. Again, I mean, the verdict is out on fracking. We all know it's bad news. We all know that it affects the health of people and that it's extremely destructive to the environment. So rather than going for a quick cash grab here, I think Akron should be one of the leaders on this issue and not go for the easy money and really look at just kind of the loss of integrity. Okay, I'm ending the 3-minute window here. So thank you for hearing my comments. Please consider this carefully and make the right decision and do not frack at Ladue.
This is Brenda Malador. My address is 711 Chitty Avenue, Akron, Ohio, 44303, calling to express my concern and hopefully am heard regarding the fracking project at Ladue Reservoir. I am opposed to that venture and hope that this message will be heard by the council. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Roxanne Stenger. I live in Aurora, Ohio, and I just would like to comment that I am very opposed to fracking under Ladue. I hope that Akron City Council does not decide to do that. I think it's a very bad idea. It's bad for the environment. It's bad for the number of people who have wells in the area. I mean, history's proved itself down near Youngstown, where we saw the number of earthquakes that were the result of fracking. Again, I would just like to state my opposition to fracking under Ladue Reservoir. Thank you.
My name is Megan Horrigan. My address is 1273 Sherman Street. I'm calling to oppose the deal to lease our mineral rights for fracking. Thank you very much.
Hi, my name is Hayden Pettit. I live on 3272 Stanley Road. I'm calling to oppose the deal to lease our mineral rights for fracking.
Hi, my name is Mike Klein, and I live on Palmetto Avenue in Akron. Regarding the oil drilling near our public water supply, that is a hugely misthought out, it's a badly thought out plan. The benefits from the oil revenue would fall very short of any accident you would lose all your investment, even on that respect. The track record for fracking is spotty at best. There are too many ways that the fracking can pollute that water source. The water source would be ruined forever. It's too precious a resource. Water actually is becoming an investment product, so it will probably be worth more than oil in a very short time. So, it makes no sense to take a chance with our water supply. It's just not worth it. Don't do it.
This is Marguerite Sherwin, and I live at 138 Holly Lane in South Russell. I think that fracking out in Ladue and part of the Akron watershed is a bad idea on many levels. That is a huge fresh watershed, and it does affect a lot of others' water supplies, well water around the area, and I do not think that they should be disturbing it. For ecological reasons as well as environmental reasons. There are a lot of birds and animals that use that area as home, and I don't think that fracking and introducing a lot of the chemicals and a lot of the damage that fracking causes physically is a good idea at all. I really hope that this does not go forward. Thank you.
Yes, my name is Greg Stroud. I live at 9100 Washington Street in Chagrin Falls, Ohio, close to Ladue Reservation. I strongly oppose the fracking at and under Ladue Reservation, which could be greatly damaging to my property along with the surrounding properties as well, and also damaging to the water supply for the city of Akron. Thank you very much.
Hi, my name is Linda Hahn. I live on Stafford Road in Auburn Township behind Ladue Reservoir, and I am calling to voice my intense displeasure and horror at the thought of fracking going on here in my township. I have read horror stories about what fracking does to the water table. We have well water here, and it's wonderful water. It's one of my favorite parts about living in this township, and the thought that for a fairly small amount of money, Akron would put this in jeopardy, not to mention the thought that the wildlife and the clean water of Ladue would be put into jeopardy by this horrifies me. I think this decision needs to be chalked up to really bad advice, financially, morally, and I'm kind of at a loss for words how much this upsets and freaks me out. Thank you.
Hello, this is Elaine Kunka, 497 Barwell Street in Akron, and I am opposed to the fracking. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Sarah Wright. I live at 850 Sumner Parkway, Copley, Ohio, 44321. I am concerned about the fracking proposal near Ladue Reservoir that council is considering. My concerns are two. Number one, climate change. We need to encourage solar and wind power, not carbon-based energy products. Number two, fracking itself. This could create the possibility of another Flint if we allow a process that has been known to contaminate water supplies in other areas. Do you really want to endanger a major metropolitan area in the short run and
add to endangering our entire civilization in the long run. We have city water here at Copley, so although I am not an Akron citizen, I feel that my comments are entirely relevant to your consideration of this matter. Thank you very much.
Yeah, my name is Dr. Harvey, W-E-I-L, Weil, 2233 Cuppington Road, Akron, Ohio, 44313. 330-289-7029. Again, Harvey J. W-E-I-L M-D. Comment. No development. Zero development. Leave everything as it is. Let it become part of the park system. Let it stay wild. No development. I'm totally against any development on Riverview. Leave it alone. Respectfully submitted, Harvey J. Weil, M.D. Thank you.
Yes, my name is Fred Ryman. I live in Akron, Ohio. I am opposed to the drilling and fracking that will be done at Ladue Reservoir. This is a precious commodity that we have, water in Akron. I don't think the monetary amount that you're going to be obtaining from that is worth the risk and damage to our drinking water. Please vote no to have fracking done at Ladue Reservoir. Thank you. Bye.
This is Fred Jensen. I'm in Auburn Township on Wing Road. The proposed well that you are negotiating with for the Ladue Reservoir is about 300 feet from our property. I have not given any of our mineral rights away, and they are probably proposing fracking and drilling under our property to reach your property. I'm at 17467 Wing Road. My number is 440-543-3100, and I think that this is a very narrow and one-sided way to receive $237,000 when it would cost the Geauga County people much more than that. And I heartily disagree with what you're considering. Thank you again, respectively, Fred Jensen.
Hi, my name is Marcia Schultz. I live at 2931 Vincent Road, Silver Lake, Ohio, 44224. I'm not an Akron resident. I had been. I lived in Akron prior to moving here for about 20 years. But I am a concerned citizen in northeastern Ohio and globally regarding our environment. I absolutely oppose fracking in the Akron area. Please do not do this. Have some respect for science and global warming and the devastation that it is causing across the United States. Please do not frack in Akron. Thank you.
Olin Clay, 55 Burr Hill, Akron, Ohio. The council, in its imminent decisions on whether or not to use fracking oil or lease land, should realize that fracking creates too many problems for the environment, for the Earth's surface, and is not lucrative as far as you renting out the land. Fracking causes many earthquakes. Fracking residue with the salt water being pumped into the earth creates many problems and pollutes the water table. Please do not lease oil or any other mineral rights for fracking or oil drilling. Thank you very much. Have a blessed day.
Hello, this is Mark Vander Ark. I'm at 1600 Wiltshire
and I'm calling about the fracking situation around Ladue Reservoir. And I'm going to say I've been a resident for 47 years in Akron. This is the most absurd idea I have ever come across. Just a little history here. Wendell Ladue designed the Akron water supply to have two reservoirs. And that is because in 1913, our primary reservoir was completely destroyed in a flood that nobody ever saw coming. So Ladue wanted to have a backup in case anything ever happened to Lake Rockwell. And that could be, who knows, terrorist, toxic, biological, chemical, plane crash. Anything that would happen to that would have a massive impact on, there's 400,000 people in Summit County that depend on water out of our system. 400,000 people drinking water. And so Ladue insisted that we keep all the area, all the land around these reservoirs protected so that we don't have any kind of contaminants or any problems getting in there. I mean, this is a highly protected body of water. I mean, the public is not even allowed to swim in this water. We're not even allowed to use gas motors on this water. And we're going to frack and inject these toxic chemicals into it to get, what, $260,000? I mean, come on, you guys. $260,000 is nothing. The royalties are a gamble. And nothing is worse, nothing is more precious than drinking water. We have so many people that depend on it. The main mechanism in fracking is using extremely high pressure to inject ultra-toxic chemicals. And these chemicals are so powerful, they dissolve rock. I mean, that is what we're dealing with here. And we're going to, these chemicals are carcinogenic. They're so dangerous, the fracking industry won't even identify, they refuse to even identify what the chemicals are. And we're going to have these injected 5,000 feet below and around our drinking water. 5,000 feet is less than a mile. That's in my district. That looks like from Firestone High School to Wallhaven. I mean, it's not an incredibly large distance. And this is absolutely the most absurd idea I have heard of. Do not let Akron become the next Flint, Michigan. I'm going to repeat that. Don't let Akron, Ohio become the next Flint, Michigan for $260,000 or royalties or whatever. Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't be.
Hi, my name is Caitlin Wino DeMarchi. I live at 2318 Main Street, Peninsula, Ohio, and I'm calling to oppose the deal to lease our mineral rights for fracking. Thanks.
Hi, my name is Lou, and I no longer live in the city of Akron, but I've lived there for almost a third of my life. I saw the article in the paper about the fracking under Ladue Reservoir, and I just wanted to put in my 2 cents. I think that the 500 an acre seems extremely low. From my experiences in the past, it's in the thousands, not hundreds. And it seems kind of, even at best case, to get $237,000 up front, that doesn't seem like a nice chunk of change, in my opinion. So, just wanted to give you my personal opinion, and I would suggest maybe, if they're really sincere about fracking underneath there, maybe to put it out to bid to other energy companies to see if the city couldn't garner a better bid than that. Thank you.
My name is Bill Haney, 4713 Copley Road. I was calling about the fracking and wanted to say I have firsthand experience with geologists of a well-known large university who insist that the fracking is safe. There is some talk about some, issues in the far northeast part of Ohio and into Pennsylvania where there's some unstable seismic rocks, but this area and most of Ohio is completely safe. And the buzzword is follow the science. This is the science. So, thank you. Bye.
Hi, I'm a U.S. citizen and I live in Akron most of my life. I
taxes. I pay my water bills. I don't want no drilling or fracking on no watershed. No drilling nowhere around water. I say no. No. No drilling at all. Johnny X, U.S. citizen.
Hi, my name is Karen Coleman. I live at 1371 Vane Avenue, Akron, Ohio, 44310. And I am kind of curious as to why so much of the last of the legislation that's coming up for the council has to deal with environmental things such as the Merriman Valley things where they want to sell so much of the property, and number two, and reduce taxes for so much of the property, and also the thing that they are going to do fracking that could possibly hinder and contaminate our water supply. All of these things are, as far as I can see, not necessary to the possible contamination of the air and the water supply that Akron has and needs just for the sake of making a few dollars. I would just appreciate some clarity in the paper that why we are so anxious to do these things. Thank you, and goodbye.
My name is Richard Beck. My landline phone is 330-699-9155, and I live at 13697 Nutmeg Circle in Mogador, which is right at the conjunction of Summit, Stark, and Portage counties in Stark. But I'm the volunteer chair of the Portage Trail Group of the Sierra Club, which has over 3,800 members in 12 Ohio counties, including Summit County, and I'm calling to oppose the sale of mineral rights under Ladue Reservoir by the Akron City Council. Our last meetings for the Portage Trail Group in person were across from Summit Mall at the Unitarian Universalist Church building of Akron. And so I'm confident we have hundreds of members who use Akron water. 9 people in our executive committee meeting by Zoom 45 hours ago, Tuesday evening, February 2nd, voted unanimously to oppose the sale and any possibility of fracking under the supplemental water supply. Our reasons included at least these 3 points. Even $240,000 worth of quick money are not worth the possibility of contaminating water at Ladue or the nearby Lake Rockwell. We don't want a situation like Flint, Michigan. $240,000 wouldn't go far towards bottled water for Akron citizens, we think. We understand that the process of fracking generates a great deal of wastewater that shouldn't be anywhere near those reservoirs, even though it would be trucked out. And in the long term, the more burning of fossil fuels we as a society do, the more carbon dioxide we generate, and the more we contribute to unhealthy climate change. We imagine that if we polled all 3,800 of our members, there might be a few who would go for the quick money, but the vast majority are more concerned with the long-term health of planet Earth and humans who live on it. Our membership grew significantly as the Trump administration came into power, saying straightforwardly that their priorities were short-term profits for corporations, not being much more important to them than the long-term health of the Earth. But we do not believe that. Again, I'm Richard Beck. I live in Uniontown, and I represent 3,800 members of Portage Trail Group of the Sierra Club in 12 counties from Medina to Youngstown, including Summit. Thank you.
Yes, Mayor Horgan, June Cunningham, Burning Tree, Akron, Ohio. I just want to applaud you that you heard the citizens of Akron loud and clear. And I hope in the future that we are represented and you know that we do not want fracking in any form to contaminate our waters here in our community. Thank you.
Julie Norman, 330-524-9448. I am calling to express my gratitude and respect for City Council for taking the Ladue mineral rates sale proposal off the table. It was the right move. I think it aligns with the environmental strides that the City of Akron has made. And while I can sense the mayor's frustration in his press release, I also trust the city to be creative in ways that can take care of us all and keep us healthy and keep the planet healthy. Because without the planet, we don't have anything. Everything goes away. Our money concerns, our political concerns, all of it goes away. And just because others are doing it doesn't mean it's the right thing to do. So kudos to you. Stick to your guns. The change is happening. Thank you so much.
Hi, my name is Sharon Horner. My address is 1181 Marcy Street, Akron, Ohio, 44301. Now, in reference to the rights for the fracking, let me get this right. As citizens here in Akron, we pay a water bill where we had to redo our sewers because of EPA issues. And if there's any issues with our water because of this fracking, is the city going to pay us to get water? Are they going to supply us with water if ours is contaminated in any way? Also, why should the city get strict? Why can't it go towards the sewers? These are issues which, I'm really interested to hear. There's no reason really to risk our water supply for a low chance of a return. Thank you.
Jody Grass Green, 699 Weber Avenue, Akron, Ohio, 44303. Many citizens of Akron and Geauga County are grateful for the mayor's withdrawing his proposal of selling mineral rights from under Ladue Reservoir, source of fresh water for over 300,000 people. It is encouraging that a majority of City Council were unwilling to follow the administration. Presumably, council members opposed the plan because of the possible degradation to the air, the water, the land, as well as people. The possible environmental costs were too high for council to go down that road. We urge council to continue that thinking and realize that many of the decisions that you make are environmental at their core. For instance, the mayor's recent news release, he points out some admirable and important points of energy conservation. But the devil is in the details when he ironically mentions Akron's tree canopy. This is the same administration who, in order to raise money, harvested the largest trees at Ladue Reservoir, which is harmful to water quality. First, forests don't need managing except for removing invasive species. Secondly, trees are vital to preventing erosion and runoff and to maintain water quality. So approving that money-making scheme is not environmentally sound, nor is it economically progressive. And replacing each of those very old and large trees with 2, 5, or 10-year-old trees doesn't equate in terms of the environmental value of what those older, larger trees do for the air, the water, the land, as well as people. Similarly, supporting the Riverwood Development project on the banks of the stressed Cuyahoga River was an environmental decision, as is abatement. There are cities throughout the country that target economic stimulus abatements to equity, and some are tied to LEED and conservation. After the last 4 years, it is more apparent that all of politics are local and that we, in our daily lives, make decisions that can impact the air, the water, the land, as well as people, even in Akron, Ohio, especially in Akron, Ohio, since we live on a fragile watershed of the Cuyahoga River that leads to the world's largest body of fresh water, our Great Lakes. There are ways to raise money besides selling off our assets. Again, while it's admirable to win awards for water issues, there are ways to raise money besides selling off our assets. Again, while it's admirable to win awards for water issues, that doesn't give us license to degrade the water somewhere else. Let's talk.
Hello,
Hello, my name is Jeanette Coleridge, and I live on Greenwood Avenue in Ward 4. I would like to thank Russell Neal, my councilman in Ward 4, for speaking publicly and expressing his concern over the fracking and additionally over the development in the valley. I would also like to thank the other councilmen and women who shared their concern against the fracking near the Ladue Reservoir. It will not be forgotten. I truly believe that every action that takes place in our lives gives us an opportunity to learn a lesson for our future. So what can we all learn as a community, and what can you take away from this while sitting on council? Well, I think we can all acknowledge that whether you agree or not with their opinions, many community members felt that a resolution was quickly being pushed through council, especially one that concerns the cleanliness of our water, air, and soil. When the written comments were taken down, they felt silenced. So I think the lesson here is that when something comes in front of you, City Council should pursue ways to help the public feel more included. What can you do to be more transparent? Should something that may concern public health be a vote for the citizens to make? I think so. Should financial ties to elected officials be examined? I also think so. And should you find more ways to hear from your constituents, whether you agree or not with them? Definitely yes. I will leave you with this question. Moving forward, what can you do to help us, your constituents, feel more involved in actions that affect our health? Thank you.
My name is Teresa Brightman. I'm a resident of Akron, 619 Roslyn Avenue. I'm calling first to thank our councilors, Samples, Swirsky, Connor, Malik, and my councilman in Ward 4, Russ Neal, for listening to the concerns of the people and publicly coming out against the mineral rights deal proposed by the city. I'd also like to ask all of our council representatives to please continue heeding the voices of the people, and please continue to protect our air, water, and soil in Akron to promote public health and safety for all Akron residents. It's concerning that the full transparency of the mineral rights deal was never made publicly available. Whenever the public makes requests for any kind of permit from the city, we are the ones who are expected to present full details and supporting documentation. It seems only fair to the people of Akron to expect that same kind of disclosure on this kind of deal or any other legislation, that it be made available to the public prior to any kind of voting, along with any full studies, plans, and disclosures that you have in relation to any kind of legislation or deals. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Joan Gregg. I live in Aurora, but I do have been to Lake Ladue many times, and I am totally opposed to any kind of fracking anywhere around or under the lake. That's my comment. I hope that the city will not allow this. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Zach Friedoff, Executive Director of the Big Love Network from 115 Oakdale Avenue. I hope you are well and warm this evening. Firstly, I'd like to give my heartfelt gratitude to Councilpeople Samples, Swirsky, Malik, Neal, and Connor for their public opposition to the administration's proposal to sell our mineral rights for fracking the Ladue Reservoir. I appreciate them listening to their constituents and their conscience, and I look forward to working with them to not only protect our natural resources, but to bring about a more equitable, just, sustainable, and creative community. I congratulate the mayor for taking this ill-advised deal off the table, and I hope he does so permanently. However, this issue was never just about fracking, and there are still many questions this process has brought forth that have not even been addressed. The mayor called the information presented against this plan as, quote, misinformation. Calling information you don't like misinformation is akin to those on the national scene calling everything that disagrees with them as fake news. Is it not odd to condemn misinformation when the city released almost no information about this deal? The only public comments made by the administration were the mayor's words on Thursday. Correct me if I'm wrong. The water department, the person who oversees the headwaters and drinking water, not even DP Energy, gave any statements or provided any information publicly to council or the general public. I ask you, council people, how is it acceptable that I have to provide the city more information to file a permit for a few-hour block party than the city has to present to you and the public to sell our mineral rights and frack our drinking water? There seems to be a general assumption that the city does its due diligence, even if the only proof given is Luddle saying, trust me, while the people do not do their diligence, even if they present a plethora of well-researched information and have a depth of lived experience. We all know there's a lack of trust between the people and our governments on all levels, and what is needed is more transparency, more communication, more engagement and involvement, not less. I'd also like to make it perfectly clear there is no us versus them. There are no teams, there is one team. We are all on it. The future of Akron is the team we are all on. There are many groups working for a brighter future for everyone in Akron, and we are not trying to fight the city. But often we are diminished, demeaned, and ignored when we try to offer solutions and be part of the process. Often we are never allowed near the table. Bringing up a diminutive remark made by the mayor could be seen as a semantics argument or maybe just millennial whining. But I feel a much bigger point is being made. When I brought this up to some prominent folks who have dealt with the city for years, they all said they didn't even notice the condescending tone because it happens so often, they're just used to it. So should we allow abusive behavior to stand just because it's always been, and say today is the perfect day to change, to begin a new path forward? We have amazing resources in our community who could help facilitate processes to finally begin to build real trust, equity, and change. I am happy to provide further information around these resources. Thank you.
Hi, this is Nick Castiello. I live at 41 Marshall Avenue in Akron. I'm thrilled that the Ladue fracking proposal has been scrapped for now, and I want to take time to thank Council Members Samples, Neal, Malik, Tversky, and Connor for siding with the people on this terrible piece of legislation. Please keep up the fight and do not let this proposal or anything resembling it through again. I do, however, want to again express my frustration over the complete lack of attention paid to the very obvious ties between the political campaign of several Akron elected officials and the agents of DP Energy Auburn. To my knowledge, not a single council person has made a public statement that even touches on the optics of the situation. Mayor Horgan briefly brushed off his concerns as if transparency and accountability in governance are meaningless. I'm once again asking council to thoroughly investigate how it came to be that a former council member and county director of development, who is also a major donor to Mayor Horgan's campaign, was almost given mineral rights worth many times more than the pennies the city stood to gain. Is this really not worth looking further into? Is the city of Akron so opposed to transparency, accountability, and basic good governance that it cannot be bothered to look deeper into what plainly looks like a textbook example of pay to play? I would love to be proved wrong here, but not a single official has even tried to rationalize or explain this situation. In 2019, council members Jeff Buskell, Phil Lombardo, and Ginger Baylor received a combined $1,450 from the owner of DP Energy Auburn. Is this of no concern to anyone in this governing body? Between 2018 and 2019, the owner of DP Energy Auburn, his relatives, and business partners donated a whopping $10,675 to Mayor Horgan's campaign. Does this really not concern a single person in City Council? As a citizen of Akron, I'm deeply troubled by the optics of this. I'm even more deeply saddened that not a single leader will actually address these concerns. Citizens ought to be able to trust their elected officials, and elected officials should be willing to address our concerns without demeaning or ridiculing us. I'm calling on City Council to seriously investigate this matter further. I also am requesting that an ordinance banning pay-to-play practices be immediately proposed and passed. Contracts, agreements, and any other sort of deal that would give public land or public tax dollars to the donors of any city council person or the mayor should not be viable. This is basic good governance and should be a no-brainer.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm again Bill Nesbitt, B-I-L-L Nesbitt, N-E-S-B-I-T-T, at 330-379-2235 and 1155 Diagonal Road, Akron, Ohio, 44307. Again, we need to have at the very least the drop-off box on High Street at the original location of our Akron Bureau of Public Utilities. Not only was the new strains of possible coronavirus appearing, and people have to be even continue their caution on being around additional people, but with the Postal Service being non-reliable on timing, for those that would not travel to the location to drop off their payment, but would depend on mail. That's no longer dependable. And of course, the Bureau can only wait so long for waiting for any mail payments of reception. And on the official bill, it gives deadlines for receptions. As far as turnoffs, there is an extension, but I believe the extension is about 1. And so we need to have the drop-off so they have a secure place to place the payment when the payment is attained on the final day. Again, their consideration, and for those I've talked with who have been considering this, greatly appreciate your aid. All have one great 2019-2021 winter, spring, season years.
Good evening, City Council. My name is Harrington Hargrove Jr., and I live at 1008 Laurel Avenue, 44307, and I'm calling in reference to the Elevate Akron study. And as Council knows, they spent $100,000 to do this study, and the study came back to say that the black population has been excluded. We're not even at the table in order to uplift our community. And I would like for City Council to realize what is happening in our community with no investment. Ward 3 goes from Dark Street to Main Street, and that whole corridor has been redeveloped, created brand new, but yet Ward 3, nothing. We're in a hub zone, meaning that if we locate our business in here, we can get the same treatment that Ohio Bell received, House of the Rose, First Merit. But you won't give us that opportunity. You won't invest in Ward 3. Collectively, we need assistance from the city. And you can give the zoo $300,000 a year to pay their water and sewer bill, but you won't extend that same kindness to the black community. There is something wrong the way that we are treated in Ward 3. It's intentionally. This council knows the situation, but yet you do nothing. It's imperative, but you don't do anything. We need you to invest in our community, council. This is my quest for the city. It's to be fair with the black community. Because as of yet, I've been asking the city to invest in my community ever since Vernon Sykes was elected Ward 3 council. And nothing has been done. Council, please, give us a hand, lift us, and have a great day and a blessed day. Thank you. Bye.
Hello, my name is Beth Field. I live at 1111 Cary Avenue. I am the COO and Director of Programming at the Big Love Network. I would like to thank Representatives Swirsky, Samples, Neal, Malik, and Connor for their opposition of the selling of our mineral rights at the Ladue Reservoir. It is nice to know that there are people on City Council concerned with the health and well-being of Akron's people and environment. I would like to state my concerns over the mayor's insistence that the opposition agreement was misinformed or in any way lacking. We will be sending City Council the letter we have been drafting around this as a 6-page research paper on reasons to oppose this deal. Our coalition will continue moving forward on the local and national level. Please expect to also soon receive legislation suggestions from this coalition. This coalition is made up of many citizens and professionals in both the environmental and health fields. We are far from being poorly educated on these matters. In addition, as Akron's only environmental health equity organization and as my personal side business of permaculture landscaping, I will be reviewing the tree plan and will be following up with any suggestions over the next week or two. I agree with Swirsky and Connor that fruit trees will be incredibly important to add to the tree plan so that we may stack functions in getting over our lack of access to healthy foods and solving the heat island crisis in the city. I would love to see the mayor's office and city council live up to their support of the Paris Accords. We have a real opportunity to become a city on a green hill. We must start making legislative advances in curing the environmental health problems that plague our city. The Big Love Network is here to help with any policy suggestions or public processes to ensure this future. As I sit on the Housing Subcommittee for the Racial Justice Task Force out of the mayor's office, I will be making zoning references via that process. But I'm happy to speak with anyone on City Council around better policy decisions to strengthen our environmental health. We must make actionable steps to erode our horrific health disparities. The mayor's goal to grow the city will only happen if the quality of life of its existing residents is improved. It is all of our duties to make such improvements. I look forward to more conversations.
Okay. That concludes our public comment period for this evening. We want to thank all of those who participated. We'll now move into our committee assignments, rules. Councilman Freeman.
1 p.m.
Public Safety, Councilman Kamer.
2:15.
Budget and Finance, Councilman Freeman.
3 p.m.
Parks and Rec, Councilman Neal.
1:45.
Planning and Economic Development, Councilman Fusco.
1.
Housing and Neighborhood Assistance, Councilman Fusco.
Subject to call.
Public Service, Councilwoman Samples.
2 p.m.
Health and Social Services, Councilwoman Amobian.
2:30.
Public Utilities and Green Committee, Councilman Freeman.
2:45.
Is there anything else coming before council at this time?
Motion to.
We have a motion to adjourn. If there are no objections, actually, I do see a couple hands. We'll start off with Councilman Swirsky. Councilman Swirsky, I think you're on mute.
I was just seconding the motion to adjourn.
Or just seconding the motion, okay. So we'll move to Councilman Neal.
Thank you, Madam President. Just wanted to ask that a couple things. One, we've been urged by the citizens to address their concerns regarding Lake Ladue. When we changed our policy for public comment, we noted that we would track our responses to those concerns. I think on the, we owe it to them. We owe it to ourselves as we review, reimagining public safety. We've said many times it's about reimagining how we govern, period, that we answer those concerns. I think we have to look at how we address legislative concerns that come before us as a body, period. I mean, it's a year now since I wrote a letter to council regarding addressing the tow truck situation. Now, a couple of weeks ago, one of my colleagues, Councilman Kamer, Public Safety, said that he was going to bring something to us in March. But since I wrote this email over a year ago, it was February 3rd last year, as a body, something that was brought to us in public comment period, at first, Councilwoman Samples was going to bring something in. Then it was said Councilman Fusco and Councilman Malik. we can't expect the collaboration with the community if, when it comes to legislation that comes before us as a council as a whole, we can't even communicate and address an issue. So my concern is that we, one, answer the questions that came before this body regarding Lake Ladue and that legislation. Two, that we have an immediate plan on how to address the tow truck legislation. The other concern is that next week, I believe we're going to go back to the 5G. I want to make sure that we please get the overarching map of the 5G sales that cover our entire city. Because when we sold the towers, we sold them because it was said that technology was becoming antiquated and it wouldn't be a concern. That's why we gave up an asset that brought over $500,000 a year into our community. And I'm asking this because all of these are issues that have been brought as concerns before us. And I think it's a good time for us to kind of like audit ourselves on how we address legislative issues that come before us as council as a whole and our delay in answering some of these. Again, the tow truck has been going on since 2017. It was a year ago that I wrote my letter to council asking us how we were going to address it. And I got all kind of answers on who was going to bring legislation before. It's dysfunctional.
Are you done, Councilman Neal? Thank you so much. We have a motion on the floor for adjournment, and we have a second.
Madam Chair,
Councilman Mallett, please.
Thank you, Madam President. Just briefly, over the last 3 weeks, we've heard from, I think, around 200 people in the public comment period, and I think many more via email and phone calls. It's been very frustrating. I know it's been very frustrating for all of us, but the people who have reached out are clearly very frustrated. And I think from some of those comments, particularly in how they engage and interact with city government. And, I've been reflecting, and I realize in the Reimagining Public Safety, spent a lot of time talking about trust gap between law enforcement community, particularly communities of color. But I think, this is a situation in which there's a trust gap with government generally. And, I think COVID clearly makes it difficult. But these problems existed before COVID, how folks interact with government and whether they feel heard by government, whether there can be a real back and forth on issues, did not start with COVID. So I hope that over the next, few weeks and months, we can all kind of find new ways to engage with folks as a collective body, especially when, we know something is going to be controversial or we see something controversial coming, that we can find ways to hear people out on the front end instead of, hearing the anger on the back end. Doesn't help anybody. Doesn't help the city. I know, Mr. Casiopa was talking about campaign finance stuff. I didn't enjoy, some of the allegations he made about me, but that doesn't mean that it's not concerns that anyone has a right to bring up concerns, right? So I just hope that we can head some of these issues off at the curve next time. I know Hudson has a tracker where they see legislation coming like 30 days out, and the public sees that too. So the public, can weigh in substantial advance. So there's just some ideas, but I hope to keep talking with everyone around the virtual horseshoe about this as we go forward. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Councilman Malik. Is there anything else coming before this body at this time? Seeing and hearing none, we have a motion and a second for adjournment. If there are no objections, meeting adjourned.
This concludes the live broadcast of Akron City Council. Margot